Hello and welcome to yet another Gold Rush Daily. Today being on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, and we are talking of gold clinching the 4,000 levels that we have been really anticipating. I mentioned on Monday that probably by the end of this week we'll be talking about the 4,000 level, and it's even going beyond that right now. At the moment, as I'm recording this, we are in 4033 levels, and it's very bullish. But before we look at the technicals, let's of all see what we have fundamentally. So fundamentally, today we are only anticipating the FOM meeting minutes at 9 p.m. Remember, these are the meeting minutes, the minutes of the previous meeting. So it's not really quite something that might try to shake up the markets as the normal FOMC rate decision that we are used to. So, but on the other news, we see the Bank of New Zealand cutting the rates by 50 basis points cut. Actually, this is a surprise because the anticipated rate cut was by 25 basis points. But we see that the official cut rate today comes in at 2.50%. That is a 50 point basis cut. So if you look at maybe probably for instance pairs like NZD USD, they are really pushing on the downside because we are talking of a weaker New Zealand dollar. Okay, so for gold, we are seeing some increased geopolitical tensions, and this is actually making gold to become a safe haven. We are also riding on the fears of the shutdown. Today is the 8th day of the shutdown since the U.S. government shut down. So there are fears that this shutdown might actually escalate or prolong, and therefore people are rushing to gold as a safe haven. We had discussed that previously. If you look at the video that I talked about the U.S. government shutdown and its impact in the financial market, we had talked about that. Anytime we see the price, we see maybe probably we have economic uncertainties, geopolitical tensions. Therefore, we look at investors tends to look at gold being a safe haven. All right, so we are seeing that. Actually pushing the prices of gold higher. The other sentiments, fundamental cues that are riding the prices of gold higher is the interest rate cuts by the Fed. We are looking at least two rate cuts by the Fed come the end of this year, and therefore this is giving gold a really big support in terms of the bullion rally. So let's dive into the technicals. So before we look at the technicals, I mean the gold, we can begin looking at the dollar index. So this is the dollar index. We can look at it from the 1 hour chart. So the price is really pushing up. Okay, so the price is really pushing up. Again, if you look at the reasons why we are seeing some of the reasons why we are seeing the price of the dollar index pushing higher, right now we are talking almost about the 99.00 level, and this is because of, again, the aspect of the safe haven. Right now that we are seeing the US government, there is a prolonged shutdown of the US government, and therefore this means that the dollar index is really extending so much of its gains, and actually today being the third day consecutively that we are seeing the dollar index are really pushing higher, and we can attribute that to the aspect of the safe haven. Remember, again, if you revisit the video I did about the US government shutdown, I talked about dollar index having some mixed cues, especially during this period of the shutdown. Why? Because the dollar index itself is also seen as a safe haven, and therefore this is what really it's really continuing to give this greenback, right? The dollar index, the greenback, giving it some more support, and the reason why we see the price really pushing higher. However, technically we are looking at this particular level here. In case you are going to see the price break above this level, then what it means is that you are going to retest the 100 level, which is about this particular level here. So those are the key cues or the key technical levels to watch. If we break this level, then it means that we might be able to see a retest, higher chances, and then now we see the price pushing all the way to about 99.97, call it 100 level for the dollar index. So, and this is because of the prolonged, again, the prolonged government shutdown that we are looking here, or that we are witnessing today, being the third day when we are witnessing this US government shutdown, being the 8th day when we are witnessing this US government shutdown. So this is quite interesting, something maybe probably most of the people didn't anticipate, but this is how it happens in the financial markets. We work with probabilities. We don't predict the price, but we take what the price really gives us. So that's what we are looking at right now. Some bullish sentiment here for the dollar index. So we are looking at this level, particularly this level here, and once the price is able to break above 99.00 level, then we might be able to see the price go all the way up to retest 99,500, and also now to the 100 level. All right, so that's what we have for the dollar index. So if we look at gold, like I said, the gold is at its all-time high, really making some all-time high. You can see quite a bullion run there, a very nice run here on the upside. We were targeting the 4,000 levels, so we have marked this one. The 4,000 levels were clinched today in the Asian session. We see the price of gold really pushing higher. As I have said, the reasons why we are looking at potential rate cut by Fed, at least 2 potential rate cut by Fed by the end of this year, 2025. We are also riding on the fears of the government shutdown. We are also looking at escalated geopolitical tensions, and therefore gold becomes really attractive at these kind of moments when we have all those fundamental cues. So what do we have, or what do we anticipate today? So right now we are talking about 40, 33 thereabout. So the next levels that we'll be looking at, because we don't have any maybe probably key levels that we can really focus on the upper direction. So this is where now it calls for working with the whole numbers, or what I call psychological numbers or psychological levels. Therefore, from around the 433, we are talking about 435. We are talking about, 4035, we are talking about 40, we are talking about 4050, 4060, 4070. So those are the target that we should be looking at. And now the mission to $5,000 per ounce has begun. All right. So remember, I talked about, I had mentioned about the possibility of seeing gold reach 5,000 levels. If we are going to see the geopolitical tensions escalate, if the government shutdown, the US government shutdown is going to prolong. Remember, the longest we have had is 2018, December 2018 to January 2019. Again, when the current sitting president of the United States, Donald Trump, was the president of the United States, and we had that 5 days of a shutdown, actually prolonging, being the longest in the history in the United States when the government shut. So in case you are going to see that prolonged government shutdown, of course you are looking at more bullion prices for gold. If you are going to see the Fed cut the rates probably by maybe probably those 2 rate cuts, even by 25 basis point cut, even 1 rate cut or 2 rate cuts, we are likely to see the price of gold rally all the way to 5,000. If not this quarter, by the end of Q4, then we are talking about early 2026. Again, supported by the fact that we are seeing most of the central bank, Chinese central bank, recently added onto their gold reserves. Central banks from emerging economies are also buying and putting their reserves in form of gold, and therefore this means a lot of support, looking at more bullish prices for gold. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, this is what you are seeing. We had this very nice ascending channel here. The price has already broken above that channel, therefore meaning even more bullish prices. All right, so you can see the breakout candle very strong, breaking above 4,000 levels, and we are still seeing the price pushing higher. So in the 4-hour time frame, therefore, these are the levels that we should be looking at. In case the price retraces to this level, then these are the levels we should look at in terms of adding even more buying positions. If you are not yet in the move, then you have to wait for the pullback, maybe probably to around the 4,000 levels here, that 990, 4,000, that 990 levels, maybe probably for you to add some buying opportunities, or to look at some buying opportunities, because I believe even if you have not gotten the ride, it's not yet too late to jump into the markets at the moment. Now, when you come to the 1-hour time frame, this gives us some sentiments here, or some cues in terms of what you're anticipating the price to do. So this is a key level that we are looking at. We can minimize that to around 39.56 levels. And again, this is a very nice technical level to look at some buying opportunities. I know it might take some time with the current bullish trajectory that we are looking at. It might really take some time, maybe probably to see the price of gold come to these levels. But for gold, anything is possible. Okay, for gold, anything is possible. So if we break it down now to the 15 minutes time frame, this is the kind of structure that we are getting here. Remember, this is where we had the 4-hour level, which again remains a very key level, because this is where the price opened up today, right? The price opened up at this particular point, and then now we saw the price push up, and it came again to test to take out the liquidity, because this was the opening point. So it had dropped again to create this manipulation, the kind of manipulation we are talking about. When the price opens, we have the consolidation, we have the manipulation, and then now we enter the distribution phase. So you can see very bullish prices here of gold. So what are we talking about? We are looking at some instance. In case this price comes to these levels here, let me mark that precisely. So in case the price of gold comes back to these levels, what we'll be looking at is adding even some more buying position and anticipating the price to continue pushing higher. Right now, we are talking about 40.35. So next, we are talking about 40.40, 40.50, 45, 40.50, etc., etc., because you are working with those bigger levels, all right, or whole numbers or round numbers, because we don't have anything above 40.35 to be able to support us in terms of what we'll be looking at as key technical levels for taking profits. All right, so of course it's always good to align yourself with what's really happening up in the financial markets, because for you to be able to trade gold successfully, you have to be abreast of what is happening in the financial market, the fundamentals. And once you know the fundamentals, you're able to align them with the technicals, and you're able to get really very nice trading positions. So it's all about research. As long as you're in the financial industry, like I've always insisted, you cannot do away with the research. Research is your backup. Research is your number one backup level, or points, number one backup point that you need for you to succeed in the financial markets. All right, so that's what we have today. These are the levels that we'll be looking at. In case of anything, I will definitely update. I will definitely do a video and update you on the same. So with that, I believe all I can say is that any retracement for gold, any retracement to our key points of interest, be at a breast of looking at some buying opportunities, because for this one, we are going way far high. Okay, we are going way far high. Remember, already the first mission, 4,000 levels have been accomplished. So we are now in the second mission, 5,000 levels. Are we going to see the 4,000, the 5,000? Are we going to see the 5,000 levels by the end of Q4 2025, or maybe probably early 2026 in Q1? That is the big question. For more insights, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. And remember always to be disciplined, to stay focused, and to trade with purpose.